Choice boards are an excellent vehicle for differentiation, student choice, and at times, a mixture of both. There are many formats of choice boards that we can choose from, but my favorite is one created by Casey Bell, which is meant to be played as a game of tic-tac-toe, where students must select 3 resources in a row. We'll also look at another format styled after a game board. Now, of course, you could build similar student choice activities within Schoology, but the benefit of building a choice board is that you are able to provide learners with a description of what they will encounter in the resource, or an image to provide some sort of context for the learner. Creating the board is pretty straightforward. You can access Casey Bell's template by going to tinyurl.com/tic-tac-toe19. This video will not focus so much on how to build your board. Instead, it will focus on different ways you can build your choice boards for different purposes. Let's start by looking at a choice board on collaboration using the game board template. In this example, learners worked in groups of 4, where each group member was assigned a color. Each group member was then to focus only on the 3 resources typed in their assigned color. Each group had a document to read, a video to watch, and a graphic of some kind to explore or view. But these resources were at different levels of difficulty, corresponding to the colors, where red had the easiest documents and blue had the most challenging. When a group member finished consuming a resource, they were instructed to fill in their square to indicate that they were finished. This added a game-like element. Once all squares were filled, groups were to have a face-to-face discussion about their learning that all group members could feel comfortable contributing to due to the scaffolding of resources that had discretely taken place. Now let's turn to a tic-tac-toe format of choice board. This one is on blended learning. We'll see that the directions indicate to start with number 5 and then to get 3 in a row from there. This format of choice board is a great way to allow for some student choice, while still mandating that students receive the necessary background information first. We can also notice on this choice board that there is a mixture of video resources and reading resources, so that students can choose how they prefer to learn. Moving now on to this choice board on differentiation. In this example, I did not include anything in the center square, because I wanted everyone to use it. Who wants to access 3 resources when you can access 2 and still get the credit? By enticing everyone to use the center square, I discreetly forced everyone to choose one of the resources with the turquoise background and one of the resources with the gold background. This was very purposeful. All of the squares with the turquoise background link to a video on some form of formative assessment, which is the first step to differentiating instruction. All of the squares with a gold background link to videos on methods of distributing differentiated work to students, which is the second step of differentiated instruction. I wanted everyone to see one example of step 1 and one example of step 2. Furthermore, the choices are scaffolded and labeled. My novices knew to select the squares labeled with N's. My operational level people knew to select from the squares with O's. And my WOW people knew to select the squares with W's. The beauty of the choice board, too, is that other options are right there and available for you. So if you think at first you're at the operational level, but then come to find out you're more of a novice, you can easily redirect by selecting the novice squares instead. My last example of differentiating with choice boards takes it to a whole new and definitely time-consuming level. Prior to asking learners to complete a choice board, I gave them a self-assessment in Google Forms that told them whether to select the novice tic-tac-toe board, the operational tic-tac-toe board, or the WOW tic-tac-toe board, meaning that I made 3 entirely different tic-tac-toe boards. That means finding and organizing 27 resources in all, which is definitely a lot. This method definitely requires a ton of work, but it means that my students all have the capability to choose what resources are most interesting and applicable to them. and I can feel confident that they are accessing resources that are at an appropriate level for them. Here again, we can notice that my center square for each board is the same video, so I know that all of my kids are at least getting the same foundation. So these are just some of the ways that I've used choice boards to infuse in some student choice and differentiation. The options are endless.